So we actually have to think hard about the digital infrastructure, Daniel, I think, and how that can be made much more seamless. And we've had the, new entrants like the low Earth orbits, kind of all sorts of different offers coming out there. And then finally, it has to be accessible and simple, right? Small businesses have to be able to get their head around this. It has to be made easy. And people need to understand it. Like people understand, say, M-Pesa, or, kind of easy to understand technology. And I think smaller businesses particularly, there has to be outreach. So I'd say those are the kind of critical ingredients based on a bit of experience.
Just to pick up on businesses getting their heads around it. So Raphael, how did you get your head around it? And kind of what are the obstacles that might hold businesses back from adopting something like TLIP? Well, I'm just, in terms of the challenges for businesses to really adopt something like TLIP, it is technical. You do need certain kind of approaches within your own business systems potentially. Kind of what are those kind of key obstacles you see businesses from maybe adopting TLIP?
The key obstacle, I think, for me is there is lack of what
Frank
mentioned is the political will to uptake the project, like the all agencies coming on board. So for me, is all agencies should appreciate the importance of TLIP and the robust technology that it brings and the speed. So if like now the custom in all countries accept the other agencies, and then the importers and exporters coming together, I believe it will really move. So normally the biggest challenge is from where we sit is in Kenya. I think tech is becoming a basic. So we've never seen really a challenge in terms of that capacity for us, and in terms of also internet, it's easy for us on the other side. So I think for us, it's the government agencies onboarding it and saying it is good to go. It's good we have a friend here from the Revenue Authority, so that because it will benefit more. You will be able to see fluid process moving from back to back, and we will enjoy doing business.
Can I ask just one?
I was going to just kick it over to Lakoya though quickly from an agency's perspective then. So how are you going to get? What's your message to other agencies then to adopt this? Sorry, I'll come back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. I think what Frank raised is key in the whole thing. Yeah, but my first point will be the agencies, particularly customs authorities, to experience this. And I like what happened in Kenya, in that the proof of concept, we involved customs. There's a thing in Kenya, and I'm sure in other countries, whereby if customs is not involved in your project, then it's bound to fail. Why? Because they are the gatekeepers of all these transactions. So for me, one of the key items is whether it's a proof of concept or some level of engagement that will be piloting, then these other customs authorities or government agencies are involved in it. The same route that we took in Kenya. The other item is tied to what Frank was saying, revolving around mutual recognition agreements between different countries. Because you may come up with this good technology, but it contravenes regulations or laws within other countries, and that will be a big issue. Tied to it also is harmonizing the policies and regulations. Today in Kenya, we have very strong data protection laws. And it's very sensitive to the point that we who are producing data, then we have to be very careful with how we deal with data. So what about this information crossing borders? It can be very sensitive and a bit wanting in terms of how we need to look at it. The other way, Daniel, to look at this is also looking at the obstacles of blockchain. And I'm saying blockchain because TLIP is running on top of blockchain. and mostly to do with capacity building. Guys do not know. I know in Kenya probably you're saying we are okay, but other countries probably they still have issues that they need to deal with. The cost of putting this infrastructure, I heard it was costing $7 million. I don't know how much it was costing. So it's also a costly affair in terms of how we are going to go about it. Then data sets, harmonizing data sets within the different regimes and countries, so that now you are able to conduct business together. So in a nutshell, Daniel, I think those are the key items I have.
Which does sound like a long list, but we do have the proof of concept here. We've actually done it in Kenya, so I think it's all overachievable.
Yeah,
you wanted to come in with...
Yeah, I just want to be a little bit provocative on your question to Raphael, because we hear blockchain, APIs, we hear sounds like very complicated technologies, and there are something to learn for the big institutions, but is it more difficult for a trader than to use this than Facebook, or is Facebook more difficult to use?
TLIP was easy to use for us, I think, because it's just pulling in data and giving that interaction on the pipeline. So I don't know what people use Facebook for, but I think for trade, I found other softwares we've interacted with. The TLIP was quite interactive and very agile in terms of adopted, because for us we were not like being done on the management level, but we were being done by the people who actually transact. I think my friend Eric knows that the person who transacts the documents every day, the person who carries a bag running from 5 agencies. We even have a bicycle at the airport so that they don't go around. Because it's tedious. I think for those who have come to JK, the cargo side, you can know that. So you tell them and they're happy. They're saying, in fact, one of them was telling me today, come with information on when do we start using it.
And on that, so I think one of the points throughout this conference has been, or one of the key words has been implementation. So I think the policies are in place, the technology is ready. I think it's now time for stakeholders to really take that leap and start using it. And I think there's a big shout out to kind of revenue authorities and custom agencies to really get on board on this. I think we may have to call it there. Frank, you're looking at me as if you've got something very urgent to say.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important. I mean, this technology works. It could be transformational. A number of us, led by TMA, IOTA, TBI, a number of us have come together to try to create this as a way to create a digital trade highway that can link countries. We have to think beyond our borders and make this global. That's the way that we'll change trade, and it needs to change. And really, just to say, I mean, it started with this pilot, but it's really an important initiative. So that's really what I wanted to say.
Brilliant. And Eric?
Yeah, pretty quickly. And I think the fundamental thing that I think Raphael and Eric have mentioned is TLIP answers the question of trust. Because why do we have borders? There's trust issues. Why do you have to send folders and folders of documents? There are trust issues. And therefore, it's fundamental that we answer that question. Now, how do you address trust? You address interests. So if you have a way to ensure that customs are able to get the information they want for them to take action through TLIP, then all the other documentation that they have required before will not be necessary. Same with the other agency. And therefore, if you look at those two things, trust and interest, and address them, which TLIP is, then I think we have something here. And more importantly, is the collaboration between countries, origin, destination, and destination markets. And as Frank has said, the globe is so huge. Kenya is one country. Probably we've done pilot on fresh produce. There's so many value chains. And therefore, we need a very massive structured way of scaling this up. Thank you.
I mean, that word trust is right. I can maybe finish by saying, trust us, this is the future. So thank you all to the panel. With a round of applause there.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much to this fantastic panel. I request that you pose for a brief photo. Also to our audience, as this photo op is ongoing, I think a lot of us have picked those keywords: trust, connectivity. If you don't think about the globe, don't think. There's also about partnership. I can see all the handshakes that have gone on. So let us go upstairs for the next session. It's an open mic session about reimagining the future. So we invite you upstairs to the panel discussion. Thank you.